On fire, choose fire. 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 We're excited that you tuned in for a time of refreshing wellness. Aliyah Butler is your show. She's an author, motivator, inspirational speaker, who's on fire to inspire the world. She's a girl to follow. On fire, on fire, to inspire, on fire. That she's on fire. On fire, to inspire. On fire, to inspire. On fire to inspire. Inspiration, motivation, encouragement, empowerment. You need inspiration, a little bit of motivation, encouragement as well. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the sponsors of the show. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome on Fire to Inspire. I am your host, Aaliyah, the Purpose Midwife. Great evening, everybody, as you're joining. Do me a favor and hit that share button. Tell a friend, tell a family member, and have them come on in and join us. Because when I tell y'all, this is going to be a great, great interview. We're going to be talking about investing in our legacy. I'm excited about the topic. I'm excited about our guest because God is using her mightily through her gifts. Y'all know how we love bringing people on that are walking in their gifts. And so before we jump in, I want to thank our sponsors. Y'all hit that share button while I thank our sponsors. Then we're going to get right on in, okay? I want to thank UEB Designs for UEBdesign.com for all of our beautiful jewelry tonight, UEBdesign.com. If you are a mom, multiple operation manager, and you want to connect with other like-minded women, you want to connect with Mom Biz Boss, I said.com, .org, Mom B-I-Z, Boss, BOSS.org. Connect with these ladies. I tell you, all are entrepreneurs. If you've not yet become an entrepreneur, but you're thinking about, hey, I want to do this, connect because you can learn and glean from these ladies. They have many a plethora of businesses. You can connect with them. They have a brunch each month, a monthly brunch where they have speakers, just dynamic women that's on fire. Look, on fire doing what they love doing, right? And so you want to join that group. If you are on your health and wellness journey and you have been with us, you've been rocking with us. We've been on this health and wellness journey. I've been doing this thing now. I think I'm in year 2 or 3. And so we do Zumba with Dance with Mina. Go over to Facebook and type in Come Dance with Mina, MENA. And y'all, we have a ball. Y'all, and thank y'all so much for all those views. We did a reel last week, a week ago Monday. She posted it Tuesday, and we have over 77,000 views on us doing the line dance flex. So thank y'all for all the love and the views on that. But if you are into your wellness journey, jump on in. And we have Mondays and Thursdays. We do Zumba on at 6 p.m. virtual and in-person sessions. And then once a month, we have line dance parties. So those who don't like Zumba, they always come on in. And we're going to be doing a special session in Spartanburg this coming Saturday at 10 a.m. And Tamina, can you add in the information about the Zumba party? I mean, Zumba, the line dance party in Spartanburg so they can hop on over and hop in. But again, y'all can find the information on Come Dance with Mina, MENA, on Facebook. Leadership Inside Trajectory. If y'all don't have this book in your arsenal, you got to get it. This is my pastor, my apostle, big brother, Ricky D. Surrett. And you can find that book on iworkfaith.com. And then he is a serialpreneur. And so he and his wife, Tamina, has a business called, well, actually, the t-shirt side of things, you can find that at Wear My T, the letter T.com. They have some awesome t-shirts. This one is Jesus is the brand. I started to put that on today. I should have put that one on. And that t-shirt, people are always talking about wearing brands, but let Jesus be your brand and not get caught up in that stuff, right? Um, and finally, if you don't have any of my books, any of my publications, you want to go to onfiretoinspire.com, or you can check out Amazon and you can get any of my books. We have my children's book, which was the very first one, which is my second child, Precious the Founder. It is Bilingual Teaching Foundational English and Spanish. And then we have On Fire to Inspire, the book. And also, On Fire to Inspire, the book, we have that available on ebook as well as paperback. And then we have the affirmational journal, the I Am Affirmations Journal, and the coloring book, which I don't have right in front of me, but we have the affirmations coloring book. So if you know a teen girl or a woman, many times we're wearing so many hats, but we don't know how to just take the time to be still. And so in that, these are the tools that you want to do to just have some self-care time, have some decompressing time to just say, I'm going to be still and I'm going to take time out and tune in and be here for me, right? So you can get any of those things. Also, finally, if you want to be a part of our breathwork session with Natalie Warren. Natalie is uh, she is a licensed counselor. She is I don't know if she's a licensed minister, but yeah, she know the Lord. And she just got her breathwork certification this year. And what she's teaching us as women how to breathe. Many of us have forgotten how to breathe, how to relax, how to decompress. So if you want to be a part of that session, she's going to do a free breathwork session for On Fire to Inspire listeners. So y'all email her, and I don't have the information right in front of me. Email me at onfiretoinspire@gmail.com or inbox me and tell me you want to be a part of that class, and we'll get you the information. So we're going to get that class scheduled. Everybody's calendars are so crazy right now. So we're going to try to get this figured out, but we're going to get it on the calendar. All right. So if you're interested, let us know. But without further ado, we want to bring in Miss Tai. Y'all, when I tell you God is using her mightily and greatly, we're going to bring her on so she can tell y'all more about it. I don't want to mess up everything. So come on over, Miss Tai Abrams. Welcome to On Fire to Inspire. How are you, my sister?
I am wonderful, Miss Aaliyah. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I'm really excited to talk to the people and share some valuable information.
I love it. I love it. We love to learn and we love to glean. All right. So I want you to introduce you. This is your first time on Fire to Inspire. So I want you to introduce yourself to the On Fire to Inspire listeners.
Awesome. My name is Tai Abrams. I am an author, a certified math educator. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur for well over 10 years now. And my purpose has been to help children and adults reach their highest potential. And I do that through financial literacy, career readiness, also closing the achievement gap in the education space, and making sure that our children have the tools to realize their full potential.
I love that. I love that. So the topic itself, investing in your legacy. What does the topic mean to you?
Investing in legacy is really about making sure you're thinking about what is it that you're going to be leaving behind. And for many of us, it's our children, right? We have had these wonderful children. I work with so many parents, and they work really hard to position their children for success. They even acquire assets along the way. But sometimes they forget that these children need to be equipped with the tools to go ahead and learn how to manage and multiply that estate. So that brings me to my most recent book called Teach Me How to Invest, Mommy. That's one of the main reasons why I'm here tonight, to share the importance of teaching your children how to invest. Investing, obviously, in the regular sense of the word is about investing in the stock market, investing in businesses, investing in real estate, right? Like using actual money, knowledge, know-how, and resources to acquire assets that are going to grow over time. But investing is also about, investing in education, right? Investing in knowledge, investing in the importance of acquiring wisdom to make strong decision-making skills. So we want to make sure that our listeners are thinking about how are you teaching the next generation to understand the concept of investing, how they can invest in themselves, the world around them, so that they can guarantee and secure that legacy that we're all working so hard for.
I love it. So what inspired you to actually write this book, Teach Me How to Invest, Mom?
So when we think about investing, a lot of times people learn about it so much later. I, for one, didn't really understand investing until I interned on Wall Street. I was an investment banking intern operating on the sales and trading side, and then I did real estate investment banking. And still, I was so far removed from the idea that I could personally be an investor. And so I didn't actually get started until about a year or two later. And I had a friend of mine invest about $5,000 of my money and he lost it all. Okay. So that was my first not so great experience with investing and not knowing how to really protect yourself and prevent risk. Right. And so I ran from the world of investing for years, for about, I would say, another 8 to 9 years thereafter. And by the time I stumbled across the opportunity to invest again, I could have tripled the money that I had in the stock market. So by the time I got started, I was like, we are not going to miss out on another opportunity for wealth creation. It's not happening, not on my watch. So I got started right away. And since then, I've seen the money that I've invested grow and multiply. So the idea was, hey, if we can start our young children out from birth, let's be clear. If a parent implements a $30 a week plan into the right investment vehicle, their children can be on track for having at least one stream of $1 million. From birth, $30 a week. That's not a lot of money. So if we can get that message across the board, to all of our beautiful families, they can have this outcome for their children. So that's where the book came from. I figured if we start with the youth and we get the conversations flowing in the family, not only will it prompt the families to start these investment vehicles for their children, but their children will also be informed about what's happening for their future.
I love that because so many, like you said, so many of us didn't learn this until we were grown because
Yep.
our people didn't know. So they didn't know what to teach because they didn't have it. They weren't equipped. But I love the fact that you say, you know what, I learned it. I'm not going to keep it to myself. I'm going to teach it. So with that said, why do you find it important for us to teach from that level of our babies, our children, teaching at that?
One of the biggest eye openers I experienced when I went to Duke University for undergrad. So I went to Bronx Science for high school, which is one of the top high schools here in New York City. Got my math degree from Duke and I got my master's in math education from Brooklyn College. And once I got into these elite educational institutions, oftentimes I felt that I was missing something. Like I had pieces of the puzzle, pieces of the education, but my white and Asian peers were light years ahead of me. And when it comes down to investing, when it comes down to career readiness, I just felt like there were conversations happening in their households that we unfortunately didn't have happening in our households. And I thought that that was extremely unfair because you can't help the family you're born into. I'm super grateful for my mom and my sisters and the village that raised me, my grandparents. However, there were just pieces that I just wish that I had, right? Because I would have went into an opportunity like Duke University more equipped to take full advantage. Even the money that I made on Wall Street, and I made quite a bit for a young 19 and 20-year-old, I blew a lot of that money, okay? Like I was just having a lot of fun. I was like, this is the most money I've ever seen in my life. I went to the spa. Like I got facial treatments, body treatments, all these things. So I just said, if we can just have these conversations happening much earlier, it would get into their subconscious. It would get into the fabric of who they are and how they move. Like one of the stanzas in the book is pay yourself first, no matter what. Then you can walk with a confident strut. Okay. And so it's just simple. Like this is what it says. Pay yourself first, no matter what. Avoid temptations and listen to your gut. You'll notice you'll never be caught in a rut. Then you can walk with a confident strut. Okay.
Oh, I love it.
And it's
I
so
love it.
true, right? Like we spend so easily. So just take a little bit of that money and put it aside. And don't just save it, put it in an investment vehicle. And when we start those habits from earlier, can you only imagine when they're in college, when they're separated from you as a parent, they already know what to do with their funds.
I love that. I love that. Because when you hear of so many that weren't um, taught early on, when they get the monies in their hands, they're going to buy the hair and they're going to get the nails done and throw away $200 on some new sneakers when that could be put into an investment vehicle that'll continue to pay for itself and then some. You done got rid of those sneakers and or you don't they're not in style.
And the thing is, we don't even have to say no to all the fun things. It's just at least put something away for yourself first. And what we said is a $30 a week plan.
Mhm.
All of the teenagers that I know in my life, $30 is running through their hands. Like these are some rich teenagers these days because they are at the store spending $10 at a corner store in the morning every day. So we did an activity. I'm running a financial literacy workshop at the high school that I work at. And one of the classrooms, they did an activity to say, well, how much do you spend on breakfast? Because these wonderful teenagers will come in. These are my ninth graders, and they have, the pancakes, the eggs, the bacon, they got the drinks, they got the candy, they got the whole thing. So we added it up and they're spending about $5,000 to $6,000 a year just on breakfast foods here in New York. Yes. So if we just took a portion of that, $30 a week, that's like about $1,500 a year. And you invested that from this age, wherever you're starting from. Do you know how life-changing that would be?
Yeah,
It's simple, it's doable, and we all can make it happen.
absolutely. Just decide to do it 2 times versus 6 days a week.
Come on now.
Something that simple can be so impactful. You
Yeah.
know. So, what does the word legacy mean to you? What is that? What is that? What does that mean for Ty?
So legacy for me is leaving something behind to that next generation. And that could be your children, that could be the world, right? When I think about the legacy that I want to leave, obviously, it's the impact that I want to have. It's the mission and the vision that I have that I want to be carried on. It's the lives that I've changed, right? It's
Mhm.
also making sure that the young people in my life, the children that I pray to have one day, and my nieces and nephews, and like the hundreds of thousands of children that I've had an opportunity to impact, that they are greater because of how I showed up in the world, right? Legacy is not just about money and property and wills, even though that's a very important part of it. It's also about what you're going to leave behind. So I just want to read two formal definitions that I found. Legacy is money or property given to another by will. So that's the more formal definition, and everyone should have a will in place. And even better than a will is a trust, making sure that you are stipulating exactly how you want your estate to be transferred over to that next generation. But a more broad definition of legacy is something handed down from an ancestor or a predecessor or from the past. So you can hand down wisdom, you can hand down a habit of prayer, a lifestyle of prayer. You can hand down a habit of discipline. You can hand down a positive mindset, right? A propensity to see the glass half full, right? You can hand down an approach to living. You can hand down a trust, which delineates that every child that comes through this family will have the opportunity to be gifted with a real estate investment property that cash flows, right? Like you have all of these opportunities to create a legacy. You can pass down a school, right? Like so many of us, whether you're starting the school, whether you're investing in a school, but you want certain principles embedded into those young people, become a part of a project that's in alignment with your values. That is now a part of your legacy. So there's so many ways that we can, be the change that we want to see in the world and start to craft our legacy by choosing how we spend our time, our money, or resources, and our gifts, skills, and talents. And I want more of us to recognize that, and of course, empower our young children to recognize that even from their young age, they are able to start thinking about the legacy that they want to create for themselves. And it starts by investing in themselves and allocating their dollars effectively.
Love it. Um, when you think about, and I don't know the ratio or percentages, But I know that they say that we as a community are the largest consumers, but we are not the ones that are, we're not the ones that are the entrepreneurs per se, versus the spending. We're the ones that spending, but we're not the ones saving, investing, and all of that. Are you familiar with those numbers?
I know that the Black community has a $1.3 trillion spending power. That
Okay.
means as a people group, we spend one point, not a B, not a M, not a B, but with a T, $1.3 trillion collectively. And when you notice in other communities, our Jewish friends, our Jewish brothers and sisters, our Asian brothers and sisters, they are earning and they're circulating their dollar amongst themselves. In some cases, 12 times, 20 times, 30 times before it has to leave their community. In our community, it lasts between 2 to 7 hours. Okay. So our money comes into our pocket and goes right back out, which means you don't really hold on to wealth, right? You're not even holding on to the dollar long enough to convert it into wealth. We're literally what we call a pass-through entity. The money comes in and it flows right back out. So you need to come up with strategies for the money to come in and stay with you and grow with you so that you can have something to pass on to your children.
Love it. Now, this actually goes straight into my next question.
Uh-huh.
So, you writing the book, how does that line up with building your mission of multi-generational wealth?
Great question. So, in writing the book, I was very thoughtful about incorporating content that allows the parent and the child to learn together. So, I can share another page of the book, where we talk about diversification. And in some cases, for the parents who have purchased the book so far, they've said, oh my God, like this is information I need to learn. So, multi-generational wealth is about the parent acquiring assets but passing it on to their children as well and making sure that the children are equipped with the knowledge, know-how, and prowess to be able to carry it on and multiply it so that it can be handed down to the children's children and the children's children's children, right? And so with that, I'm always thoughtful about creating products that the parent and student can learn together. And that way we create this as a family journey instead of everyone working in isolation. In the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, we talk about the importance of interdependence instead of independence, right? Of course, children are dependent on their parents, and the goal is to get them to being independent from their parents. But even more powerful than that is the children and their parents working interdependently. And we look at families like, the Trumps, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, right? They were able to figure out ways for their children to acquire skill sets that they can now bring back to the family. And I say this all the time. When I was at Duke, I noticed that several of the families, the children came from wealthy backgrounds. They would ensure that their children either went to business school or law school, or they were on Wall Street, with me. But I was on Wall Street as a first timer. I had never heard about this world of Wall Street. But a lot of my peers, they were there because they were going to work ultimately in the family business, right? They were acquiring skill sets and know-how because the family already had a legacy that they were building. And now this child, operating through a lens of interdependence, is now able to bring this skill set. So that is kind of like how we want to think about it. We got to move in groups. Of course, our children are going to get married. They're going to go on and create their own family ecosystems, but we're also contributing to the larger mission and vision that the family is trying to build. And that's where you see a lot of these legacy families where they were able to successfully pass down their wealth. And this is 100 years later, 200 years later, you can still track those dollars instead of, what happens in our community. The dollar is gone in 2 hours. Like we got to go find more dollars. We got to go work another 12 hours to find more dollars. And it still just goes right back out again. So we just got to get better at this. So this was another page where the family is at the park and the little girl, the dad and the mom are saying, the best thing to do is diversify. In no time flat, you'll soar so high. Index funds and ETFs, my, oh my, they will be your best ally. And so for some, like I have my niece, she's 10, she was reading it. She was like, wow, like some of these words I didn't know, Auntie. But I was like, there's a glossary right here in the back that you can look at. And so she said, like, when I went to the glossary, that helped to clarify some of those words, right? So just in education, we always want to have a word wall that students can learn from. And so these are some of the words that I had her to look up, and so that she could fully understand, like, what is an ETF? That's an exchange traded fund. What is an index fund, right? Like, that's trading against the stock market. And these are like affirmations to help, the children work on their mindset so that they're developing and cultivating that investor's mindset. And I know you know a lot about the importance of affirmations. So it's very, very key.
I'm really loving how you put this together for the family to learn together. Because you think about it, if the family came from nothing but a place of impoverishment,
Yeah.
it's all they know. Well, but I want to learn more. I want my family to learn more. I don't want this for my children type thing. Then they can sit and they can learn. You have it to where they don't feel intimidated because they're
Yes.
with their children, and it becomes a family time thing too. You
Yeah, and I don't know if you know this, but a lot of like real estate contracts, investment contracts, is written at a 22nd grade level. And America on average they're reading at a seventh grade level. We're talking about adults are
know?
reading at a seventh grade level on average.
Wow.
Like, we have a huge literacy issue in this country. So it's just interesting when people think about this being an elementary age book. The reality is it's packaged in a way that's digestible to any person's age. And because it's a children's book, you almost feel even less intimidated. Like, I remember being on Wall Street and I was like, I don't know anything that they said in this meeting. Like, I was just like, wait, was that English? So I had to create a whole like book with all the words, and I was looking it up, and I would bring it with me to the meetings. Like, oh, he just said basis points. What does that mean again? So it's just a way for, like, a parent to not feel intimidated by the fact that, yeah, I don't know what an ETF is either. So we gonna learn this together, right? And we can have that baseline level of understanding by the time we get through this. And if you got to read this 100 times, which is perfect, because this, like, elementary age is the best time. And quite honestly, it's really the only time that parents are able to sit down with their child and read the same book 100 or 1,000 times. Once they get into middle school, which is where I spent most of my educational entrepreneurship career, it's just not happening, right? Like, high school is not happening. So I figured, like, repetition is the mother of mastery. So this is a great time for a parent to sit down with their child. We got to read this thing every night. We gonna get it right until we are on that journey to raising a millionaire, because that's what we're doing. Okay.
Yes. So, what is your vision for teach me how to invest money?
So on the back here, I actually said Tai Abrams is the author of the best-selling book, Who Am I? An A to Z Career Guide for Teens. So this is actually, my first book, and the CEO of Admission Squad. And she continues her mission to prepare and equip students to achieve early money and career success. So I want everyone operating in their purpose and monetizing their brilliance. The earlier we can get that done, the more fulfilling your life is going to be, and the more our world is going to benefit. We don't want people in jobs just for the sake of earning money, right? Because then you're not giving your best. But when you're operating in purpose, God is going to prosper you. And then I said, she is building a community committed to creating 100,000 young millionaires. That is an ambitious goal, but I truly believe it can happen if we are starting this from a lot earlier. So I just did a career day at an elementary school, and I started off with, who in here wants to be a millionaire? And everybody raised their hand. And I said, who wants to be a billionaire? And everybody, and I said, well, I don't know if I can teach you how to be a billionaire because I ain't even there yet, but I certainly can teach you how to be a millionaire. And that is through the power of investing. And so just getting that in their minds from so much younger and finding a way to get them started in that is so powerful.
Wow. There was a question over here saying they couldn't leave a message in Facebook on Facebook. So we're actually streaming through three different social media platforms. So if you're trying on Facebook, you have to accept StreamYard being able to verify you for us to be able to see who you are over on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and it's not allowing you to, you got to accept that part first. She said, yes, teach our kids early about building wealth. Absolutely. Absolutely. We have to teach. them early. It's imperative. And you know, when you said, and it's funny, you sent me back when I first wrote my children's book, Teaching Foundational English and Spanish. I
Yes.
was having the parents tell me, you know, I was learning a little Spanish with that book. So,
We're
and
gonna
so,
learn together.
so anything that we can do together on a foundational level, catching them early, especially one of the things I do, I'm a consultant, and I deal with parents have children from 0 to 4 years old, and so that age from 0 to 5 is when they're actually being able to learn. That brain is just going and growing, and if you can capture them on that level and just make that to where by the time they're 5, that book is one of their favorite books. Baby, by the time they're 7, they already invested.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, can we invest in Nike today? Can we do an ETF? Dad, I found this. I found McDonald's. McDonald's is doing well. Like they'll be able to read the stock charts at 7. So
Absolutely. One of the things I love with some of the children that were able to, study finance and found it very intriguing, like yourself in math and all of that. I have a godson that just turned 25, but by age 24, he already had 3 Airbnb properties. He has stock. He has all these things, and he just bought his second home and turned it into an Airbnb. Just turned
okay.
25, like last month or this month, something to that effect. But when you have that exposure, and you say, "Ooh, the blinds have come off," and that's what we got to teach our kids early, y'all. It's not too late, even if they're in high school. Sit them down. They got to learn. Teach them now, because just working a 9 to 5 ain't gonna do it in this day and time.
No. We need multiple streams of income. We need more people. I think even more powerful than that is someone who has achieved a level of financial freedom. I don't believe that they're not going to work. They're going to work more purposefully. And I would rather a society where you have people who are choosing to have an impact and choosing how they want to fill those gaps and be a problem solver than folks who have to be there. You know, you go into an establishment and people are just miserable. Like they just have a look on their face like, you again? Or like, ma'am, this is your job.
Mama,
Like,
take your order, please.
I know. They're like, they're like, no, I really like their energy is saying, I really don't want to serve you right now, but I have to. So I guess, what do you want? And I would rather be in a world where people are joyfully operating in their gifts. And if that gift is being a cashier, be my guest, honey. But if you are destined for more, you have the right, you should have the privilege, you should have the honor to operate in that purpose. And I want more people to not be, in bondage to debt and in bondage to chasing the almighty dollar, because it's really not all that almighty. Money is a tool that we're supposed to be able to use to circulate in this world, to have an impact, to make a living, of course, but to do even greater things. And I want us all to have that opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love the fact that you said investing in legacy, and you're not just talking about money. You're
Mhm.
talking about you're talking about what am I leaving for my children, and I love that because if you have children that are, let's say they're an only child, and a lot of times they tend to have these terms with only children, that they're spoiled, and they may have been like me. I'm an only child, but I was around older people all the time, so I was an old person before my time, and I learned from the old people, and even now the older people, the more mature, the more seasoned. Even now, I love being around my seasoned saints, because you can still glean from their wisdom, and learn from them and grow in that capacity. That's something that we don't get to do that much anymore. You don't see that in our community anymore because a lot of the matriarchs and patriarchs have passed away.
Absolutely. But we all have something to offer, whether it's our grandparents, and I learned a lot from my grandmother and my grandfather. They were always storytelling. And I just want that to continue. The power of sharing stories, the power of sharing wisdom, with young people. I noticed that in some of the family households, they're not having conversations because the phone is the central point of interaction. The
Mhm.
TV has become the central point of interaction. You know, one person's in this room, the other person's in that room, everyone's separated. So how can we bring back family dinners? How can we bring back story time? How can we bring back reading sessions where we can actually have Q&A? You know, hey dad, I'm reading this book, like what do you think about this? Or hey mom, you know, there's a question in the book where it says, can I invest in real estate someday? And the dad says, of course you can, without a delay. Like you can be a partner on a deal from very young. You know, we go into some of the Chinese food stores here in New York, and those families have the little 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old managing the counter and counting all the money and catering to the customers. Why is that any different for you and your children? So thinking about ways you can kind of work together is really, really critical.
I love it. So I saw that you were invited to be a TEDx speaker locally.
Yes, yes. It's going to be close by in the New York City area, like in the tri-state area rather. And she actually reached out to me about the importance of getting young children to invest earlier. And in all honesty, like we always say, the power of vision boards, right? Like you want the opportunity to you know, realize your dreams. I'm just trying to pull it up right now so you can see it. So she said, yeah, hey, Tai, congrats on your children's book. This is Natalie. It would be a wonderful TEDx talk about the need to teach our children financial literacy early to build generational wealth. Please consider applying. And this is TEDx Deer Park. So really, really, really excited. And the beautiful thing is I've already had doing a TED talk on my vision board for like 5 years now. And it
Wow.
wasn't that I was scared. It wasn't that I wasn't ready. I love public speaking. I can speak in front of any audience just fine. It was the timing and it was the right message, right? That I would feel comfortable bringing to the world. And financial literacy has been on my heart for years. And it's specifically because I had $143,000 of student loan debt from Duke University. Okay. And that it hurt me, to be honest. Like it hurt me financially, you know, spiritually, physically, emotionally. I had to learn and grow so much from that. And from that, I realized like, yo, we need to learn about money. We need to learn how to use debt. If you're going to spend money on school, what is its purpose? How do you treat money as a tool? So yeah, that's going to happen. I'm speaking it into existence. That's a TEDx talk. And I also speak a TED talk into my future as well. It's going to happen. But it's all in God's timing. And it's obviously your ability to be bold, take risks, and finish what God put on your heart to finish. Because this book was downloaded to me 2 years ago. And I took some time to find that illustrator. That was completely on me. And it was, over winter break, I woke up one night and I was like, Tai, you were finishing this book. And because of that, I'm now lining up for my highest good and in line to do a TEDx talk. So for anyone out there who's listening and God has given you not one, not two, but several ideas to rescue you from your situation or, transmute you into the destiny that you were called to, I require you to step up. I require you to shift into purpose right now. Okay? Because the world is waiting for you. There are people who, it's not until I wrote this book that they are now thinking differently. They're shifting into the reality of what God has called and asked them to do. But it would not have happened if I didn't show up and stand in my power and stand in my ability to be obedient to the call on my life. So I know there's people out there who are listening, who are in that same time and space where they have some work to do. And so I just want to make sure you guys are receiving that message. We are on Fire to Inspire. And I know Aaliyah has done a great job of pushing people into purpose. You call yourself a purpose midwife.
The purpose midwife is who God renamed me. Everybody still, well, some people still call me Miss On Fire to Inspire because that's the name of my second book and that's the name of the show. So I'm okay with them calling me that, but I know who God has called me now, and He calls me the purpose.
Yeah, it's so important. And I'm gonna ask you a question. Why do you think it's so important for people to be operating in purpose?
If you're not operating in your purpose, you feel like you're the walking dead. Yes. You almost feel like you need some oxygen to help you keep moving. But when you're moving in the vein that God has you in, it's effortless. Yep. You love it. You wake up saying, how do I get to serve you today, Lord? How do I use this gift? Now, I gotta go into this job and work with these 12 hours. I mean, I've been there. I've been in IT. That was one of the things. Ty, I had a guest a couple years back, and
Yeah.
he said, mentor asked him, "Are you doing what you learned to do, or are you doing what you were born to do?"
Oh man, that's
And
awesome.
that hit my spirit so strong. And I remember saying when I was in the IT world, that was what I learned to do. That wasn't what I was born to do. I
Mm,
was born to speak life into people. I was born to allow people to take the blinders off or unclog their ears and just have that rustling in their spirit to saying, "She's talking to me. Oh my God." I've had a person tell me with the book On Fire to Inspire, had a person tell me, I feel like God had you write that book just for me. And
amen.
for someone to tell me, I listened to your show, and as you were interviewing my favorite author, I listened to your show, and I was about to give up. She was in her 40s. She had gone back to school to get her degree, and she was about to quit because math was just it was just not the thing for her.
Hmm.
And listening to you tonight gave me the what I needed to go on. And then
Amen.
later, took a picture of her degree and she sent it to me.
Amen.
Self says, you know what? I'm doing what you said do, Lord. And so it may not mean much to many, but when God has called you to do something, that minute thing was a huge thing for me. You
Yeah.
know. And so yes, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that was a great answer. I just know, I mean, it's a better answer than I really had. I just know what it feels like when I'm operating in purpose and when, for whatever reason, I'm being disobedient and I'm not in purpose. And I don't like how that feels. I also feel like it is the secret sauce to being youthful. Everyone's like, Ty, how you still look the same? It's because I'm walking in my purpose. Like, I know that it sounds crazy. Yes, I drink my water. I have my detox juice right here. I eat my vegetable, all those things. But I think the key to feeling young and vibrant is doing what you're here to do, like what you were born to do. Then, as you said, you're excited every day. Like I just have so much energy because I'm like, all right, what are we doing? What are we doing? What book I'm writing? What speaking engagement I'm doing? What business I'm building? And it's fun. It's truly fun, and it's like life is worth living when you are living that way, when you have chosen to walk in the fullness of what you were born to do and called to do. And so yeah, I love it.
Love it. I love it. I love it. And one thing about operating in your purpose, and I'm just going with, remember I told you this is my father's show. I'm just the mouthpiece that he chooses to use.
Absolutely.
But one of the things when you are operating in your purpose, there will be people looking for you because your name is in, just like that lady reached out to you
Yeah.
because you were obedient and you wrote the book, you finished the book. So the timing was that, it was time.
Yeah.
But even for me, me and my the guest that I'm going to be co-hosting an event June 17th in Atlanta, and that particular event, she and I met 9 years ago, and we've kept in touch and everything. But I'm co-hosting her seventh annual event, and it was as a result. She just happened to call me, "Hey sis, God put you on my heart, and I want you to co-host with me." And so, y'all, if y'all are in the Atlanta area on June 17th, y'all want to go out and get your tickets. We are going to be there for the seventh annual Winning Red Carpet event. And so, and it's called Removing the Bandages Foundation. And basically, they honor women who've been through some things. They're even honoring um, Ahmad Arbery's mom, Wanda Cooper Douglas. She's going to be awarded at that event. So there are people. I said all that to say, when you're operating in your giftings, when you're walking in purpose, when you're doing what you were purposed in the earth to do, guess what? People are looking for you. Oh, girl, I got to write that down. That's a post. When you're operating, I don't even know if I can say it again. When you're operating in what you were born to do or purpose to do, what did I say, Ty? That wasn't me.
People are looking for you.
Looking for you. Thank you, honey.
And
People
not
are
just
looking
any
for you.
people, the right people.
The right
The,
people. The right people.
the right people, the righteous people, the divine people. That's it. However you want to say
Yes,
it.
yes, yes,
I
yes, yes.
love that. It's just so important because it's like, definitely I wrote a career guide for sure. But we have to be so careful not to just do something because we're being told to do it or society is telling you to do it. Like I was in a program in college and there were just so many great opportunities, but it wasn't what I was born to do. And so I had to really figure that out for myself. It's not just because it looks pretty and there's a high dollar amount on it that you chase after it. You have to really take that time with God to identify how to use the suite of skills, gifts, and talents that you have and how it needs to be presented to the world. That could be in the form of a career, where you're working for a company. It could be in the form of a business. It can be in the form of you writing books. It could be in the form of you, authoring digital content. So you just have to really be clear on how God wants you to package it for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, my sister. I tell you, God has connected with me with some awesome, awesome women. Lakeisha and I have yet to meet. We actually have been sisters ever since we were connected through other mediums on social media. And she said, congratulations on your TEDx talk. Congratulations on all that you're doing.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
she wish she would have learned this stuff in life, early in life. Thank you for the congratulations as well. Dr. Lorinda said passion. She's loving the passion.
Yeah. I love it.
Glory to God. Yes. So, um, I am loving the fact that when you're walking in your purpose, there is passion with that. Uh,
Yes.
around it, and you don't. It's not fabricated. Like me using my gift of exhortation to encourage people. That's a part of my DNA. That's who I
Yep.
am. If I can't do that, I can't breathe.
Yep.
It's almost like it's almost like taking a fish out of water. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
real talk.
Real talk. And so if you're not operating in your gifting and you feel like you're suffocating or you feel like you're just a walking dead, I need you to just get still and said, okay, God. Because this was my prayer time. This is my prayer when I was asking God about my purpose. I said, God, what did you put breath in this life to do? And what did you put breath in this life to be? Because this ain't it. When I, stopped following the money and chasing the money, and it was about, okay, God, what am I here for? Because
Yeah.
it's so bigger than, you
Yeah.
know, and that's when you start seeing it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, for me, it was also like, what was I spending a lot of time doing? So while I was in college, I was again pursuing Wall Street. I was like, I'm going to be this investment banker with a corner office. I'm gonna live the lifestyle. But my on-campus job was working with children. I was doing something called America Reads and Counts, and I would be in the school system, working with them. Like we were getting like 12.50 an hour, but it was like the highest paying job on campus. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. But of course, like I really enjoyed working with the teachers and the children. So I was like, interesting. Then I'm pursuing a math major just to make sure I could secure my position in the business world. I was learning Arabic, so I studied abroad. My senior year, I took an education course, and it just touched me. One of the students that I work with, like her mom had died. She was like, a drug addict. The dad was in jail, so she was just wanting to create a life for herself. She was only like 18, 17, a teen mom. And I was like, yo, this is serious work. Still went on to pursue investment banking. I was a government consultant, and I still found myself right back to working with children. So it's like, what is the thing that you naturally just spend time doing? I remember I went to this trip in Panama, and all like everyone was, this was adult. I was at that point maybe 23. All the children came to me and we were playing together. And everyone was like, you have a real gift with children. I was like, I think I do. Like, I had dreams about it. It was like I'm not even gonna, I'll spare you the details, but it was like the mission, the message of the dream is your job is to take care of the children, make sure that they're good. So I took it seriously. So that's what I'm saying. Like to this day, I'm like, there's so many ways for me to fulfill that purpose. I am a certified math educator. I currently work in a high school, but I've done so many things. Even before that, I run a nonprofit. So I'm an entrepreneur. I've written 4 books. I also have authored several courses. I've done college graduation commencement addresses. I've done doing workshops, confidence building workshops with the children. There's just so many ways, once you really operate in your purpose, like you said, That's where the multiple streams of income come. So like people are asking me like, how did you pay off $143,000 of debt? I'm like, once you identify that purpose, God gives you 10, 20, 30, 100 streams of income that sprouts out from it. It's so powerful. And I know you've experienced that because you yourself have shared, I'm a consultant, I'm an author, you're a co-host, right? You are obviously doing a successful YouTube channel. Like it just, and it's effortless too. Like I'm not saying it doesn't require work. It does require work, but it's not coming from a place of lack. It's coming from a place of overflow.
Right.
So, and for me, it's like when we talk about even going back to the theme of investing in legacy, how can I position my children, my niece, my nephews, the children that I operate in, if I'm not being an example and I'm not choosing to invest in myself so I can even show up this way? Because it's not by accident that you've decided to shift into purpose, because it still is a call for obedience, right? So you still have the choice to say, I'm just going to chase the money, or no, I'm going to fully operate in purpose. But sometimes that does require investment in self in the form of reading the right books, getting around the right circles, right? Going to the right conferences, getting the right mentors, right? Getting folks who can actually coach you on how you can monetize this stuff, because it's not going to, we're not born knowing this information, So the self-investment piece is extremely important. And then even more critical is, how are you going to tell somebody else they need to be an investor, right? And you haven't done it yourself. So that is the biggest way to impact the next generation. How did you show up, right? So people can see, wow, like that woman right there, I am who I am because of her. I wanted to, if I could have been half the person, people say something like that. If I could have been half the person, but they see you as an example and they're like, well, I can do that too. So it's just so critical that we are all thinking about how we can show up as our best selves by shifting into the purpose that God has aligned for us.
Dr. Lorenda's question was, congratulations on the TED Talk. How did you get it? They actually reached out to her. Dr. They reached out to her. And
yes. Yeah, this is a woman that's been following me for several years. This is not the first thing that I'm bringing to the world, right? I've been an entrepreneur for 10 plus years. I've have a lot of impact in the education space already. I've also been seen on multiple TV shows. So I'm sure she's been following me for several years. It's just, this is the next notch on my belt of how I want to have an impact, but I intend to make this a national/global initiative. And I'm so grateful that she wants to be a part of that.
Yes, I love that. Absolutely love it. So for the people who are listening or watching, they're like, okay, already, how do I get the book? How do I follow this lady? How do I, how do they get a copy of the book? How do they follow you and all this good stuff?
Yeah, so it's definitely available through taiabrams.com. So my first name is TAI, last name ABRAMS.com. And so you can see all of the amazing things I have to offer. We also have the book launch coming up here in New York. It's going to be a red carpet affair on July 15th. And I'm really excited about that. So bring the young children out. This is not an adult party, guys. I feel like I'm getting more adults coming than children, and we're almost at capacity. And I'm like, guys, I need the children to be out here. Anyway, so definitely check me out on taiabrams.com. I'm on Instagram at I am Tai Abrams. And of course, it's available on Amazon as well. We all shopping on Amazon. So you can always find all of my books just by putting my name in, and you'll see Teach Me How to Invest Mommy will come up. And just definitely stay in touch, guys. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm being as active as I possibly can, considering all the things we have going on. I'm also on Twitter, not as much, but I do have a Twitter account as well. So reach out with questions, read the book. For those of you who said, I wish I had this information, I challenge you to share it with 5, 10 other children. It doesn't have to be your own. It could be folks in your church. It could be going to the local school and pay that forward, because guess what? You will be blessed with it coming back to you, right? We want to have that cycle of giving and receiving flowing in our lives. So find some children that you can bless. And, I promise you, you will be blessed as well.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. Y'all, you want to go get a copy of this book. And congratulations on all your upcoming things that are to come. Because you just gave us a bunch of stuff, but that's not even scratching.
I feel that. I really do. I'm like, this is just a little entry point, guys. It's just a little hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But big things are on the horizon. And I pray that for you as well. I speak that into your life as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so tell them one last time how they can follow you and your website for the ones who, how you say, stay it to the ones in the back of the row, in the back row.
Yes. So you can find everything that I've shared here tonight on taiabrams.com. That's TAIABRAMS.com. You can also find me on Instagram at I am Tai Abrams, on Facebook at Tai Abrams, and on Twitter as well at Tai Abrams. And if all else doesn't work out in that way, go to Amazon. You can find the book there too. And I'm sure you'll be able to connect with me because I have all my contact information in the books as well. So definitely support, definitely stay in touch. And let's raise some young, early, purpose-driven, rich, young millionaires, okay?
That's what I'm talking about, Ty. So I want you to stay backstage for just a few moments. I got something else to share with you, okay?
Sure, it's perfect.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, y'all. So if you missed any of this interview, you want to make sure you go back and hit replay. And if you have not already joined our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube, go over to Aaliyah the Purpose Midwife and go subscribe. Share that this session with someone. Sow it into someone's life so that they can be they can be blessed. Their family can be blessed. It's time for us to, I said, stop leaving liabilities and start leaving legacies. It's time for us to walk in the gifts, the talents, and abilities that God has given us. So next week, we're coming back with Geneva McMillan. She is actually my cousin and licensed family and children's therapist. And we're going to be talking about some things next week. So y'all, I can't remember the topic, but I know who's coming. So y'all know sometimes I don't remember who's coming because Holy Spirit may not give it to me, but he did give me for next week. So we will be back with her next week. But y'all, please let everybody know to go back and listen to this. We are streaming on all 3 platforms. Go over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button, like, and comment on what hit your spirit, what stood out for you tonight. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. We love y'all. Y'all have a blessed week. Remember, as long as there's breath in your body, there's purpose to fulfill. I love you guys. I am Aaliyah, the Purpose Midwife. Blessings to you.